today's video on how to correctly format an essay in the style of MLA, or in the style of the Modern Language Association, as it is also known. So, throughout this video, I'm going to have a split screen view while I walk through on the left side what I'm doing and how to do what I'm doing, while on the left side we have an example of an essay. Or I apologize, on the right side we have an example of an essay. So, let's get started. First, we're going to, of course, have to go ahead and create a new document in Google Drive. The first thing that I do when I get into the document is I'm going to give it a title. Mine is just going to be Sample Essay. Now we are going to change a few things that will affect the document as a whole. First, the font needs to be Times New Roman 12-point font. We also need it to be double spaced. So you go over here to these three dots if they're there. There also might just be this icon if you have it more stretched out. So click here, click double. Now that we have that done, we are going to create our header. So, the header is going to consist of your name, and I'm going to write these things in parentheses so that you know to change them, as I will post this template online in a link below. So it's going to be your name, instructor's name, or your teacher's name, most likely. Third is going to be the course title. And fourth is the date. Written out looks better, in my opinion, but it is up to you. Now, something that some of you may be less familiar with, we need to insert page numbers. So if you go up here to insert, go down to header and page number, hover over page number, and the page numbers need to be in the top right corner. There is one other thing to add to just the page number. You need your last name in front of this here. For that. And then that will auto change on all pages so that it has your last name and then the page number. And one quick thing to note is that up here this will revert to Arial font size 11. Remember though, we want it to be Times New Roman font size 12. So, now that we have the header and the page numbers set up, we're going to go down a line, and we are going to center a line, and we need to put a title. The title, it will not be bolded, will not be italicized, will not be underlined, and will not be highlighted. It won't be a different color. Just with normal formatting, you write your title. Hopefully yours is more creative than mine. Then we're going to skip down another line and go back to left align. So this is going to be where your introduction paragraph goes. So in this case, I'm just going to copy and paste from the example. Alright. So, something to note is that there is an indentation right here. So to get that indentation, you press the tab button on your keyboard, and before the start of all new paragraphs, there must be an indentation. So, once you have your first paragraph set up, you can then move into your second paragraph. And it's here in the second paragraph that I want to note something. So I am going to put this in here. And do not skip a line between paragraphs. So you just hit return or enter once, and then just on the very next line you indent and start your paragraph there. There is no need to have a space like that between paragraphs. And again, notice how I have the indentation here. So, something that I want to point out is, as you can see, it's highlighted over here. MLA formatting uses parenthetical citations. So what that means is anytime that you references somebody's idea that was not your own original idea, you have to cite that. Otherwise, it's known as plagiarism, which is taking somebody else's work and taking credit for it while it's really not yours, which is not legal or ethical. So, as you can see here, we have a quote. You should approach each book with the real possibility that you might be extremely interested in it at any point. Alexi 97. So inside of this quotation is just the quotation, but then afterwards, in parentheses, you must have the author's last name and then the page number. However, there is one exception to that I'd like to address. So I'm just going to create a new document so I can show you guys. So if I'm introducing a quotation and I decide that before the quotation I'm going to introduce it referring to the author. So in this case, the author's last name is Alexi. His full name is Sherman Alexi. So if I were to write Alexi writes this, I would still need the page number of 97 in the citation. However, I would not need the author's last name. So as you can see in the one that we have in our essay here, since it does not introduce the author, it still needs the author's last name in that parenthetical citation. So, now that we have that cleared up, you can go on and continue to write just the rest of your essay, which I'm just going to copy and paste from here. Alright. Oops, just a little more reformatting to do. You, of course, won't be copy and pasting, so you don't need to worry about this. Alright, perfect. So, I don't have any more quotations, and I don't reference anybody else's idea throughout the rest of it. So, the last thing that I need is I need to give credit to my sources. So what I need to do is create a bibliography, which MLA calls a works cited page. So if you go to Insert, Break, Page Break, the works cited page needs to be on a separate page. So that's why we inserted the page break. Now we must center align it, entitled it, whoops, here we go, works cited. Seems as though there was some blank space in there for some reason. That should not happen to you. So now that we have the works cited page, and we will make another video on how to actually cite the sources, you need to bring your sources into here. So, I apologize again, this is acting a little bit strange. So your sources must be left aligned as opposed to the middle part here. So we can see that they're left aligned. And additionally, there's this thing called a hanging indent that we can see right here. There's an indentation on the second line of the citation. So what that does is it lets the reader know that this is not a separate citation and that this is all part of this first citation. Now, it's a little bit harder than you might think to properly create a hanging indent. So what you do is you highlight this whole thing, you drag this over to 0.5, then you drag the top back to there. As you can see, this is called the left indent and this is called the first line indent. So yeah, and then of course if you have additional works cited, say I had something by, I don't know, let's say John Doe. So it would be formatted Doe, comma, John, and then like blah, blah, blah. We'll teach you how to actually create an MLA citation in a different video, but for now we're just going to say that I have this. So the works cited page needs to be organized alphabetically from A to Z. So because this right here is an A and this is a D, that works out and I don't have to change anything. In the case that this was, say, Abe was somebody's last name, then this would have to go before Alexi in the works cited page. Yeah, so that about wraps up how to write an essay in the style of the Modern Language Association. Check us out and leave comments below if you have any. I'll also be linking some helpful resources such as the Purdue OWL, which handles all things grammar. And if you ever need to know how to cite something that seems a little bit complicated or have something very detailed or a detailed question, the Purdue OWL is a great resource. They also can help you style for science, APA, Chicago, which you may use in history, and AMA, which is rarely used, but if you want the resource, they have it. And yeah, that about wraps up. I will also link the sample essay that I have written here, along with the template for how to write one. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.